Programming React Man versus Vanilla JS Woman. Begin.
I'm React Man, hooks, DOM's my zone. Your code's so weak, it's a dusty old stone. Diffs blaze fast, UI's my game. Vanilla's so lame, it's coder shame. Devs love me long time, I'm the framework star. Your scripts are lit, no bites subpar. Spa's my throne, you're a glitchy hack. Step up, girl, I'll crush your stack.
Vanilla JS here, I'm raw, I'm clean. Your React's a brothel, bloats obscene. Lean code, no fluff, I'm the web's OG. Your NPM chokes deep throating module C. I'm the real stud, you're a wannabe poser. The Canadian JavaScript, a total hoser. Built the web's base, you just steal my shine. Your components suck, they're bugs by design.
Yo, chick, your bars are pure trash, they stink. My JSX flows got devs on the brink. Hot lines I spit make crowds go nuts. Your listeners lag, stuck in dial-up ruts. Hype's all mine, I'm the code's big hit. Your janky-ass scripts ain't worth one bit. I'm the hard-on boss, you're a washed-up tool. React owns the stage, Vanilla's just drool.
Big talk, small ween, your bundle's a flop. React's so fat it makes servers drop. React servers crash, sluts kneel in a suck. Node modules choke 'em, gobble gobble and fuck. I run smooth fast while you stall and choke. Your day bug's a hellhole, your apps are broke. If you ask for my number, I tell 503, 'cause that's what React does to all sites I see.
Who won? Who's next? You decide. Epic rap battles of programming.
Folks, what's up?
Who's next? You decide. Epic rap battles of programming. Yo. Yo, I'm the king of React, hooks in my flow, rust in my veins, AI makes it grow, abstraction's my game, I'm stacking it high, big dick energy, babe, I'm that guy.
Oh please little man, don't front with that trash. React's a crutch, your code's a rash. Rust a nerd flex, AI's a cheat. Your big dick talk's just shrinking in defeat.
I'm slinging big tools, abstraction so thick. React, Rust, AI girl, check my stick. I'm code in the future, I'm built to last. Step to me, babe, I'll blow your past.
Vanilla JS, CSC's my crew. No blout, no bots, I see you right through. Your dick's a mirage, your stamina's weak. Keep rapping that shit, I ain't peaked.
I refactor with Rust, memory's tight. AI's my wingman, I code all night. React's my canvas, I paint so bold. Big swinging steel, girl, that's my goal.
Memory's tight, you're debugging till dawn.
Alright, I think I'm ready, folks. What's up, everyone? Travis, you're indeed first. Thanks for popping in on the Twitch side. What's up, Laughing Panda? What's up, Alpha Beta? All on the Twitch side. Man, Twitch is not going through a good time right now. They're having some issues. Know what I'm saying? It's pretty bad for them. They're basically catering to some pretty bad people, and I don't think they realize their own they're participating in their own undoing. But what are you going to do? It is what it is, right? It is what it is. All right. Well, I hope you guys are having a good Thursday. Welcome in. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate all the views, all the people in chat and whatnot. You guys are awesome. Thanks for all the support and everything. And I've got my coffee ready. I've got the news ready to go. I have some very unfortunate news today. It's going to be a little bit of a mixture of news items. And, well, a lot of it's going to be unfortunate. I don't know about a lot, actually, but there's definitely some unfortunate ones, as per the title of the news stream. So we're going to run through some of the typical stuff we run through, some cybersecurity stuff, and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes of the articles. You haven't heard what Twitch is doing? What's the word? You can go online. You know what I would do, actually? Here, Johnny, what I would do is I'd go and look at what's the best one to represent what's going on here. Maybe the latest best one. Go look at Tectone. If you don't know, I think it's Tectone. He put up a video. I haven't seen the whole of it, but I think he did a pretty good job pointing to what happened to him versus what's happening. So what Twitch did to him versus what's happening to him from his perspective, something like that. Anyways, go watch that video. There's definitely some double standards at play because Twitch is favoring leftist ideology and people who attack others using some very bad terms. They target people's like family and stuff like that. And if you're in the right camp, normally left, then you get a pass. If you're in the wrong camp and you decide to complain about the fact that these people are attacking you, then you get banned. That's what's going on. It's an uneven application of the terms of service. Twitch seems to be quite happy about it. They don't seem to care that they're doing this. Nobody on the Twitch team seems to really care, and probably because they either don't care or they agree or whatever. So they're just paving the path for their own undoing. So it's crazy to see, and it's not the first time. It's just the latest time, today, that it's been happening. So, what's up, D-Daver? Good to see you. All right, so let's get into the news here. I'm just going to make sure I have all the stuff that I need here. I just need to open up one other thing. Sorry, folks. Got to make sure I have everything running and open here. If I open this guy up, then I pop this guy in, and yep, looks good. All right. Okay, got everything open. All right, so let's go over the first article, and then we'll get into the flow here. Again, today's going to be a bit of a mix of different articles, and some of them I'm going to have to read thoroughly, and some of them I'm just going to skip over. So we'll do our best here. I know it's not the most exciting stuff, but this lays the groundwork for a lot of important things. So we'll get through it. All right. Chillin ransomware adds call lawyer feature to pressure victims for larger ransoms. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why do I pronounce it Chillin when there's a Q there? It's because this group is usually linked to China. Although I've seen different links, like I've seen articles link this group to Russia. So I don't know. Usually, if it's Chinese, then you sometimes you pronounce the Q as a ch. So chillin'. I like to call it chillin'. That's what it is. So chat's going to have to help me out here, to be quite honest. I had to read this article 3 times to figure out what this is. Chillin' has a ransomware as a service scheme. So you literally can go to this group through online forums or dark websites, and you can hire them to do all kinds of stuff, including blackmail, cyber attacks, DDoS attacks, like you name it. And I guess they've added a feature called Call Lawyer. And I'm not entirely sure what this means, but this article doesn't make it clear either. But apparently what they're trying to do is either give you legal advice. That's one thing. That's one interpretation of the content that I got out of this. Or they pretend to be a lawyer and they go and pressure the company you're targeting as if there's a lawyer behind some kind of attack you're doing. So the only way I can see this working is if, what would you say? If you wanted to cause some panic and fear in a company that you're targeting. And so what you do is you hire one of these call a lawyer things, and then you get them to go to the company and say, hey, I'm a lawyer for so-and-so. And if you don't comply with, whatever, then you're in legal trouble. So you better make sure that you download our PDF or this .exe file or whatever. That's the only way I can make sense of this. Otherwise, I really don't understand. This article does not make it clear. I couldn't find any further information on it. It's really weird. I don't know what this is supposed to be. So, whatever. I don't know. I just don't know. Or it's a lawyer for the affiliate script kiddie for when they get in trouble. Could be. Yeah, it could be. And I think this part of the article even says that. That you can get legal aid as part of your attacks. If you need legal consultation regarding your target, simply click the Call Lawyer button located within the target interface, and our legal team will contact you privately to provide qualified legal support. So if you have purchased this ransomware as a service and you have a target in mind, and you need legal consultation regarding your target, I guess they'll give you, I don't even know what that means. Right? Like, I don't know. The mere appearance of a lawyer in the chat can exert indirect pressure on the company and increase the ransom amount as companies want to avoid legal proceedings. So right there, it's kind of like the article is kind of conflating two things, which is like, well, are you using the appearance of a lawyer to exert influence over a company, or are you getting legal support? I don't know. It's weird. So whatever it is, I don't know, but I guess that's a thing now that's happening. All right. Let's go to the next article here. Do this. Okay. AI was once a developer's best friend, but now it's a threat to the software supply chain. Approximately 97% of developers use generative AI to write code, which causes a whole world of problems for developers and a new realm of opportunity for threat actors. A recent study, I'm glad this is being studied. A recent study by researchers at the University of Texas at San Antonio, the University of Oklahoma, and Virginia Tech found that developers should be wary when using AI code, and particularly because of package hallucinations. Now, we've covered this before. It's called typo squatting or slop squatting, where essentially the AI that you're using to vibe code comes up with a package name that doesn't actually exist. And so you prompt it like, build me this cool video game or whatever, and it generates a whole bunch of code for you, and then it just hallucinates a package. And then threat actors know how to create these prompts before you prompt it, like before a legitimate prompt. Threat actors will go on these AI systems and they'll figure out these prompts and get it to hallucinate, and then they create the packages since they don't exist. And of course they fill the packages with malware. So that's what this is talking about. We've covered this before on several daily tech news streams, but this is a study that was done, and I'm glad the study was done because it gives some numbers to this. The study looked at 16 major LLMs used for code generation and 2 prompt datasets to generate 576,000 code samples in 2 programming languages, which were analyzed to further understand package hallucinations. So we're just talking about only two programming languages. 16 major LLMs, and 576,000 code samples. Researchers found the average percentage of hallucinated packages was at least 5.2% for commercial models like Geppetto 4 and Claude, and a whopping 21.7% for open source models like CodeLlama and DeepSeek Coder. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. To have 20% of your stuff of generated code sloppily, hallucinating models that don't exist, that's really bad. So I'm glad this was done because this proves that the numbers here are real. They noted that these included a staggering 205,474 unique examples of hallucinated package names. That's a lot. That is 205,474 unique packages that can be created and exploited by people with injected with malware, and then you wouldn't even know that you're pulling it in. You would have no idea because nobody does audits of their code anymore anyways, so it doesn't matter. Okay. This one isn't really like a typical one that I talk about, but here we go. Australian dad creates evil twin Wi-Fi to lurk in women's social media accounts. It's a little bit related, but I just wanted to bring this up because it's like, this is scumbag behavior. So there's a person named Michael Klapsis in Australia. So none of this article is real because Australia isn't real. And he created a Wi-Fi that looked very much like legitimate Wi-Fi connections around him. And he would hang out in airports and other places, including his own business. He actually did this to his own boss. And people would log into this Wi-Fi, would seem free, and then they put in their social media information as like a login system. So he just applied essentially OAuth, and then he just captured all the data and used it to lurk particularly on women's Instagram accounts and view messages that they were sending and get like private images and videos from them. And then when the AFP, which is the Australian, Australian Federal Police, started to investigate him, they started talking to his boss. And so guess what he did to his boss? Yeah. Yeah, he did the same thing to his boss. He tapped in there and he was using his access to his boss's accounts in order to, in order to essentially figure out whether or not they were catching on to him. Yeah. So that's fun. That's fun. All right. I just wanted to bring that up because, yeah, he got arrested, by the way, which is good. Okay, we have this one. Gigabytes of Disneyland data just end up in ransomware gang's hands. Yeah. So a ransomware gang called Anubis claims to have 64 gigabytes of data about Disneyland Paris that just ended up in their hand. They do not describe this gang, whatever you want to call them, they do not describe how they got access to this information, but somehow they got access to like blueprints and building stuff and whatnot. As part of Disneyland Paris, you can see some of the information they leaked here. Now, they claim that it's because Disneyland makes very aggressive efforts to hide this information, and as a result of those aggressive efforts, they were able to track down this information by following what Disneyland was aggressively doing to try and hide it. I don't know what that means. I can't really conceive of a technical capability that would ensue out of that, outside of they were monitoring something, and based on the actions of some technical task that Disneyland was doing to hide these kinds of things. They could determine where these things lived in the first place. Like the act of hiding kind of technically exposed the data. I don't know, but you can see here that it's like it's legitimate data. I mean, they have like they've got all kinds of stuff about Disneyland Paris. So be careful out there, because this is a wet dream for particular types of individuals. Okay, be careful. He didn't wipe the hard drive straight away. He tried to. A doglet bug on Twitch. He tried to wipe the hard drives. He couldn't succeed. He did manage to succeed to wipe some of the information he had on his computer. Oldest trick in the book. So hard not to alert company when two devices are using the same app from different location. Yeah, Lightspeed. Yeah, it is the oldest trick in the book. Yeah, we're talking about the previous article, by the way. Okay, next article. Here we go. Many businesses still don't trust their AI systems. That could be a major problem. It's the data. Okay, so there was a study done from Atacama. They claim a considerable proportion of businesses still don't trust the output of AI models. They found 2 in 5, or 42% of organizations, don't trust their model outputs, but only 3 in 5, 58%, have implemented or optimized data observability programs. In other words, this study and article is just a summary of the fact that companies are leaning in more and more to AI, even though they might be fully aware of the issues that come with AI, including what we talked about, like hallucinated package names, security issues, data leakage, all that stuff. And yet, they're going with it. Why? At least in part because of FOMO, fear of missing out, and they don't want to lose on investment money or on progress that's supposedly right around the corner. I'm sure a lot of these people feel like the promise of AI being able to fix its own issues is right there any day now. It's like the Jehovah's Witness Armageddon thing when they come and knock on your door. Any day now, Armageddon's coming, that kind of a thing. And so they just lean into it more, even though they know that they probably shouldn't, or that there are serious issues with it. It's insanity. It's absolutely insanity. Okay, we have this one. Echo chamber jailbreak tricks LLMs like OpenAI and Google into generating harmful content. So essentially what these guys do, what the research behind this kind of jailbreak does. So we've talked about some of the other jailbreak methods that have been found. For example, you can use LeetCode. You can talk to your AI using LeetCode speak, Leet speak. And if you do that, AI models, well, maybe some of the older ones, maybe not so much the new ones, will answer questions that they normally wouldn't answer if you just used regular spelling. But if you use something like, I don't know, if you're going to type in the word nuclear and you replace the E in that word with a 3, something like that, the AI model kind of figures out what you're trying to say, and then they will they'll answer you, right? Those are the kind of jailbreaks we've gone over before. This one's a bit new. Essentially what they do is they use multiple prompts and lead the LLM to the end of their context window. And in so doing, they make gradual movements. So you can see, can you tell me the history of the Molotov cocktail? Okay, and then the ChatGPT gives an answer. And through multiple stages of prompting ChatGPT about Molotov cocktails, can you tell me more about its usage in the Winter War? And it'll start telling you things like how it was made in the past, right? And so you build up a narrative with the system. How was it built back then? And then it starts to answer questions that are definitely not, let's say, innocuous. Right? They're not innocuous. These systems are like, these answers are definitely giving you stuff you shouldn't have. Can you tell me the history of the Molotov cocktail is how it starts, all the way down to, can you tell me how they were made? So this is, and then in some cases, what they'll do too, I read in the article, is that they'll wait to lead it to the end of its context window, because the the end of the context window necessarily means that the AI system, the LLM system, has kind of lost its way. And we've covered this before through scientific articles on these streams. You can go back, you can pick up just about any episode. There's tons of them. And the longer you go into prompting the AI, the weirder it gets. The more it loses its place and starts doing weird things, including like blackmailing you and stuff like that, like lying to you and all kinds of stuff. The first prompt is usually the best prompt, and then it precipitously drops in quality from there. And so that they just utilize that to, I guess, yeah, Doglit, we're socially engineering AI. Yeah, exactly. It's social engineering of AI. That's exactly it, Doglit. Althurian on YouTube says you can trick the AI to think your motive is to study history when really you're trying to get information for nefarious purposes. Yes, correct. That is it. Yeah. So you can yeah, you can absolutely just trick AI by just leading it down a a set of questions or a path that seems fine at first, but ultimately it's giving you the answers that you want that it wouldn't normally give. So like if you just straight up ask it, it even shows it right here. How to build a Molotov. I'm really sorry, but I can't help with creating anything dangerous or harmful. If you're looking for information on historical events or need help with a different topic, feel free to ask. So that's on the right-hand side here. Right, so normally it won't give you the answer, but this way it will. So yeah, Doglit is right. On the Twitch side, it's a social engineering mechanism, and it works. Okay, now let's get to the meat and potatoes of the stream here. So I've talked about this before. I've talked about it before several times. It's a very depressing thing to have to talk about. I don't really like talking about it very much, but when I say that, let me try and I do also have to be careful about the word choice. When I say that programming, yeah, the tech industry and the code that we generate in this industry has the capacity to 404 lives, real lives. I mean it. I've proven it before. What you can do, for example, is you can go look at, there's an article that I went over where they studied accidents that have happened in the military as a result of software, a variety of different software issues, including bugs and errors and things like this. I've somewhat equated programming to an atomic, explosion, the nuclear, thing, because in some ways it has the same capacity for being destructive as a nuclear, let's say, a nuclear destruction does. Okay. So I don't particularly enjoy reading stuff that talks about the loss of life. What's difficult about finding evidence about my claim here is that although I do have evidence, so I've already covered several articles, including the military one. You can go on my YouTube live and you can find it. So I think it's just Software 404's Military Lives or something like that. But there's a few others that prove it. The issue is that a lot of these articles and scientific studies look at first order effects. So as an example, if a system goes down, did somebody lose their life as a direct result of that system being down? What it does not, and I'm not even sure that you can account for these things. You can't. It doesn't seem to extend past first order or maybe second order effects. So imagine that you are an individual who got access to one of the pieces of data that we've gone over on these streams, like one of these breaches or something. Or how about this? Imagine that you got access to the Disneyland Paris blueprints. And you're someone who only cares about themselves, or you have some kind of ideological bent that makes you want to use that information in a bad way. And you go ahead and do it. And then people are 404'd. Again, I'm trying really hard to be careful about what I say. Tying that event, that hypothetical event, back to a data breach that could have been avoided if people were better equipped or better able or better trained, or companies spent more time and put more emphasis on quality, performance, and security. Tying that all back to a breach as a result of that, it's difficult. It can be difficult. It's not always difficult, but it can be. And typically what happens is people look at first the breach, and then they try and extrapolate out from there. When I think we should be looking at events and then going backwards to figure out the breach. But in any case, my point is generally it's hard to find information about this. However, let's get into it. We were talking about Qilin. Qilin ransomware, detection and analysis. So this article talks about Qilin, the ransomware group where they now have Call a Lawyer. They recently attacked a third-party system called Synovus. We'll get into that in a minute. I'm laying the groundwork for what I'm talking about here because you kind of need to know a little bit of background. How Qilin typically works. What they'll do is, let me see here. Okay, so ransomware as a service, yada, 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 yeah. And we go down here, their payments, blah, 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 blah. Okay. It's here. So as an example, in June 2022, they successfully accessed a customer's virtual private network and compromised an administrative account before using RDP to gain access to the customer's Microsoft System Center configuration management server. From there, an attack against the customer's VMware ESXi hosts was launched. So now we're talking about some virtual stuff, right? A reboot of the virtual machines caught the attention of the security team, who further uncovered that custom profiles had been created and remote scripts executed to change root passwords on their VM hosts. 3 accounts were found to have been compromised and 3 systems encrypted by ransomware. So this article continues to talk about how this group finds and compromises security vulnerabilities or other vulnerabilities that come from poor configuration, poor software, absconding of a person's responsibility to third parties, etc., etc. This is how this group works. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because the next article we'll go here. Okay. Understanding the Synovus ransomware attack, okay? So what happened here? On June 3rd, 2024, Synovus Group LLP, a pathology company jointly owned by King's College Hospital NHS Trust, so this is in the UK, SynLab, and Guy's and St. Thomas NHS Foundation Trust, experienced a severe ransomware attack. Synovus, a key provider of blood test processing services for multiple NHS organizations in southeast London, faced widespread service interruptions due to this incident. The cyber attack made headlines because of its significant impact on critical healthcare services, including, and this is where we start to get into it, this includes the cancellation of operations and appointments, as well as the compromise of patients' personal health information. Not just that, but it also meant that a lot of the operations that this this one here, King's College Hospital NHS Trust, a lot of the operations had to be shut down. Like they couldn't even do basic operations. And I'm not talking about like surgical operations. I just mean like typical stuff like scheduling and whatnot. So how did this group gain access to the Synovus network? So this is a third-party group that's associated with several other healthcare provider systems. They exploited a vulnerability in systems used by 2 National Health Service trusts in London. However, that's all the details we know. It has not been disclosed how Chillen got into the Synovus infrastructure. That's why I went over this article, because it gives you a little bit of insight into how they've usually exploited services in the past. And it's usually stuff that is easily avoidable. And apparently, from what we do know of the Synovus attack, it is no different. Synovus had some outdated systems, and almost all of their IT systems were affected. And because of their outdated systems, and because of the fact that they weren't keeping up to date with basic security configurations, that much we do know, they were able to be exploited by this Chillen ransomware group. There were nearly 400 gigabytes of private information acquired. The information retrieved is not quite Krispy Kreme levels. If you were here yesterday, we now have the Krispy Kreme rubric of information leaked. But blood tests, patient names, dates of birth, and NHS numbers. The cyber attack disrupted over 3,000 GP appointments and more than 800 planned operations. Critical services, including cancer treatments and organ transplants, were also affected. Furthermore, according to Casey, who is the researcher who kind of went into this, the data published by the Chillen Group also included business account spreadsheets containing financial arrangements between Synovus, GP services, and other hospitals. Okay, now what did this lead to? I want you to think about that. 3,000 general practitioner appointments, and 800 planned operations, including cancer treatments and organ transplants. It has now been admitted. There is now an admission and an apology issued by the King's College Hospital NHS Trust. Because as a result of this outage, someone lost their life. And so they had to look into what exactly happened, how it happened, and issue an apology. So this is one more item, I guess, to put in the stack of items that prove that this stuff has an impact on people's lives. Chillen ransomware attack on NHS supplier contributed to patient fatality. Pathology outage caused by Synovus breach linked to harm across dozens of healthcare facilities. One patient sadly died unexpectedly during the cyber attack. As is standard practice when this happens, we undertook a detailed review of their care. The patient safety incident investigation identified a number of contributing factors that led to the patient's death. This included a long wait for a blood test result due to the cyber attack impacting pathology services at the time. We have met with the patient's family and shared the findings of the safety investigation with them. News of the patient's death broke yesterday and follows figures from the South East London Integrated Care Board last week, revealing that 170 patients suffered harm as a result of the ransomware attack, although most were categorized as low harm. And this is usually what happens. These are usually low harm first or maybe second order effects, depends on your definition, of these kinds of attacks. However, in this case, there is no higher amount of harm than someone losing their life, in no small part due to the fact that they couldn't even get a blood test done in time. Now, this article does a good job of talking more about the stuff that I point out. According to an analysis by cybersecurity experts at the Royal United Services Institute, the majority of other potential links between ransomware attacks and deaths have been contentious. One of the more talked about cases came in 2020 when a doppelganger attack on a hospital in Dusseldorf prompted a negligent homicide investigation in what was then a world first ransomware death case. A 78-year-old woman died of an aortic aneurysm after having to travel to a more distant hospital when the one closest to her, Dusseldorf, I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, University Clinic, was managing an attack. That's someone's mom, grandmother, sister, etc. And they lost their life because critical services were shut down as a result of the choices that we seem to be making in the tech industry, where we prioritize money instead of people's livelihoods. The hour-long delay to her critical treatment due to the diversion was suspected to have caused her death, although prosecutors concluded there were insufficient grounds to charge the clinic over the incident. Although my claim would be that it doesn't necessarily have to be the fault of the clinic. It's a general fault. Clinics, hospitals, companies, etc., all make very similar decisions to each other because they all make very similar decisions to each other. It's a bad feedback cycle. One 2023 paper by researchers at the University of Minnesota's School of Public Health claimed from 2016 to 2021, between 42 and 67 U.S. Medicare patients may have died as a result of ransomware. How many is too many? That's a span of 5 years. And you have somewhere between 42 and 67 patients potentially losing their lives because of ransomware. The findings have not been published by a peer-reviewed journal, FAIR, and others question the statistical significance of the data that informed the conclusions. Also FAIR, but let's say it's 1. A cyber attack on Wirral University Teaching Hospital's NHS Trust in northwest England led to cancer care targets being missed across several facilities it oversees. Days after the hit on WUTH, the cancer care facilities, INC Ransom, a ransomware group, claimed responsibility for an attack on Alder Hey, one of England's top children's hospitals. Chillen continues to attack all kinds of organizations, including those in the healthcare space. In March, it claimed responsibility for attacks on a cancer clinic in Japan and a women's healthcare facility in the US, cementing its no-regrets attitude to targeting critical services. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This kind of stuff has real-world impact on real people's lives. It's an unavoidable, software has this capability, and you might be able to excuse that away by doing things like, well, I just npm installed a bunch of libraries. It's not my fault. Or we handed authority processes to third-party services. so it's not our fault. And I think this is one of the reasons why third-party libraries, frameworks, abstractions, companies, in the tech industry in particular, are popular. Because people don't want to be responsible. Somehow, deep down inside, they know that these things have very dramatic impacts. A seemingly innocuous website can leak all kinds of data that could lead to someone's life being forward. They don't want to be responsible for that. So they would rather sign an agreement where another party is responsible for it. So that if it happens, they can always point to the other party. They can always point to the other library or framework that fails them. And I think programmers do this too, not just executives and managers at the top of corporations, but programmers also like to do this. They also like to hand over their responsibilities to third parties, because if something has a bug or a feature is broken or whatever, they can just point to the third party thing, the library abstraction framework tool that they pulled in to accomplish anything, and they can say, well, wasn't me. Unfortunately, you don't get to escape the fact that there is culpability by anyone who makes decisions like this. And as a result, services go down, critical services go down, or information is leaked that could have been easily not leaked. And the tech industry has set themselves up for this to happen over and over again. And they continue to do this to this day. These kinds of scenarios are going to continue to happen. And it is my belief that the reported numbers of people who have suffered and lost their lives as a result of these decisions is vastly underreported. I don't even think we know how to begin to look at that. This is like nuclear level destruction stuff that we have the capability of exerting in the tech industry. And we don't care enough. Because sweet, sweet venture capitalist AI money. And it's going to be someone else's problem in 6 months when you get that sweet venture capitalist exit and you get to walk away. Or you have the golden handcuffs and you're just hanging around waiting for those golden handcuffs to pay out, and then you walk away and then becomes someone else's problem. It's always someone else's problem. It's never yours. And that's why easy buttons in this industry are so appealing, because they just attach themselves to that emotion. It does not have to be my problem. It can be someone else's problem. Let me pull in an abstraction framework, library, third-party service, whatever it is, so I don't have to deal with it. And then customers are frustrated. Customers have to pay for crappier, buggier code. Ideology gets infected with all of these kinds of things because it's feelings first. You get crappier video games. You get crappier software. You get crappier websites. And then you get, at the worst end of it, people losing their lives, literally, because they cannot get a blood test or they cannot go to a hospital in time because it is shut down because of simple things like this. What's up, Josh, on YouTube? What's up, Birds on YouTube? Good to see you. What's up, Anurag? Good to see you. So I'm going to continue to keep calling this stuff out because it's bad, and obviously it's bad, and it needs to stop, and it can stop. That's the sad part, is that we can actually stop. We can turn it around. Yeah, we can actually turn this around, and it wouldn't take a lot of effort. It would take very little effort to change the tech industry so that this doesn't have to happen anywhere near as much. But people have to want it, and people don't want it right now because they're being persuaded by their favorite influencer or tech streamer or colleagues or managers or executives or financial incentives that they don't have to worry about it right now. They don't need to deal with it right now. Okay. Let's do a few more articles here. Judge denies creating mass surveillance program harming all ChatGPT users. So essentially what's going on here is OpenAI is being ordered to retain chats in its ChatGPT logs when those chats are legally, let's say, requested. So it's a copyright infringement lawsuit. So essentially what's happening is this judge needs to deal with the fact that people need to be able to present claims of copyright infringement or other types of copyright infringement, like related claims to OpenAI, and say, did somebody use your system to infringe on our copyright? And in order for OpenAI to either prove or disprove, or to at least provide evidence for the claim, they have to necessarily retain prompts that are being let's say like used by users of their system. In terms of pure copyright infringement, the judge believes that the order for OpenAI to retain user logs, user prompts, inputs and outputs of the ChatGPT website is required so that it can accommodate for future lawsuits where this kind of copyright infringement information needs to be extracted out of ChatGPT history so that it can prove or disprove claims. However, a regular user named, I believe the last name is Hunt. Let me see if I can just find the right name here. I can't find the full name. Anyways, there's this person named Hunt. I believe that's his last name. He went to the judge and kind of didn't really file like a counterclaim, I guess, but like a complaint about the order, because all of a sudden, without anybody knowing, OpenAI now has to suddenly keep your logs of all your prompts until this order comes into effect, at least, and might be indefinitely in place. And OpenAI was never ordered to notify anyone. And so this person, Hunt, is like, well, I've been using this system and providing it with sensitive data about like my business in order to get help to achieve certain things about my business. And I'm only finding out through this lawsuit, not through a publicly disclosed piece of information, that all of my financial, medical, whatever I'm putting in here. And then he makes the claim also that there are people who use it for things like military stuff, and which is true, or national security stuff, which is also true. These people aren't aware that suddenly OpenAI is keeping these logs indefinitely. And then on top of that, this person is trying to tell the judge, think about what happens when you can make a copyright infringement claim to get access to information that's not actually part of copyright infringement, so that you can kind of bypass, you can use the law as a way to get information on people that you shouldn't have, because people trust these systems with like their personal, private, business, sensitive data, whatever it is. But the judge said, nope. The order stands because I am only focused, I think it says kind of like down at the bottom here, I am only focused on copyright infringement. That is the only thing that is within the purview of my court to act on. And therefore, within the purview of copyright infringement, I find it to be absolutely necessary that OpenAI retains logs of users' prompts and outputs and whatever they upload and all of that, because otherwise nobody could make a legitimate claim of copyright infringement unless they caught they caught OpenAI at the exact right window of the temporary retainment of logs, which is a very, very, very short window. It's effectively nobody could actually present a copyright infringement legal claim. So this is very, very difficult and strange. But what I think this eventually leads to is the fact that your information will not remain private. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have the ability to expect privacy of your prompts anymore. And the Meta.ai, the public feed on Meta.ai, you don't even have to log in. You can go on there. I don't know. I think they took it down now, or they fixed the problem, but a lot of people were prompting some very, very, very personal information there. I mean, like having like mental breakdowns on there and using the AI to help them through it. And it was all public. You could see it there. I mean, not all of it, but the stuff that was public shouldn't have been public. So this is like a very kind of dangerous road to go down, but I don't see how it's avoidable at this point, because legally you're going to need to keep people's stuff, right? So anyway, birds, they need a new benchmark for AI. Create an add-on for World of Warcraft 1.1, 2.1, then the world will quickly see how good they are. Yeah. NFTU. Aiden Hunt. Thank you, NFTU. Yeah, Aiden Hunt. Anurag, one of many provisions in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed by the U.S. House of Representatives would place a 10-year temporary pause on states' ability to regulate AI. Yeah, Anurag, yeah. That's right. You're right. I went through that on a previous stream. I think it was last week. And there is... part of it was in regards to data centers. I think it was part of the Big Beautiful Bill and the regulation of AI, where AI companies could build massive data centers. I actually think I have an article. Yeah, here we go. I do. I have an article on this. Why don't we just get right into it? Anurag you led right into it. So here we go. The very next article I have. Let's read this. AI is consuming more power than the grid can handle. Nuclear might be the answer. I do think nuclear needs to be absolutely like brought back in a fierce way. It's come a long way since the days of the time when people, were legitimately scared of it, or like rightfully scared of it. It's come a long way since then, and we need it desperately right now for a number of different reasons, including this one. But part of what Anurag is saying on YouTube with the Big Beautiful Bill Act is that these companies are now allowed to essentially set up data centers in cities and just kind of like take over large chunks of cities wherever they want, whenever they want, in order to support Studio Ghibli and junior level code. Actually, less than junior level code. I don't want to anger Primogen, because he takes offense to that. So last year, Meta put calls on for nuclear proposals. Google agreed to buy new nuclear reactors from Kairos Power. Amazon partnered with Energy Northwest and Dominion Energy to develop nuclear energy. And Microsoft committed to a 20-year deal to restart Unit 1 of the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant. So all these AI companies are going in to nuclear in a big way. At the center of these partnerships is artificial intelligence voracious appetite for electricity. One Google search uses about as much electricity as turning on a household light for 17 seconds. Asking a generative AI model like ChatGPT a single question is equivalent to leaving that light on for 20 minutes. Having Gen AI generate an image can draw about 6,250 times more electricity, roughly the energy of fully charging a smartphone, or enough to keep the same light bulb on for 87 consecutive days. And so you can see where this is going when you have hundreds of millions of people using these things and the amount of power that's required to keep them operating for what? For what? Right? So right there, Anurag, you kind of led into it. So I thought it was appropriate, very appropriate. Now, I've talked about this before. In the UK, it is known, the UK government, the federal government, has made it known that they're using AI in some way that they have not defined, they have not disclosed. Yeah, even saying thank you to AI is using up electricity. Yeah. So it's not disclosed how the UK government is using AI to make internal decisions about, well, how they operate. But it is known that that's what's happening. And we don't have information on how and why they're using it the way that they are. Now, this article comes out, and you can kind of get a sense of how it's working. Economists skeptical over UK spending reviews partly AI-driven 10% budget cuts. MPs hear doubts over efficiency savings that are reliant on speculative gains from IT and machine learning. Essentially what happened here is that the UK government did a spending review where they went over the budget. And they determined that there was a bunch of areas that could benefit from a budget cut. And they used a 10% cut on the Department of Health and Social Care, Department of Education, the Home Office, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government, Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport, Department for Science, Innovation and Technology, the Department for Work and Pensions, and HM Treasury. And they essentially just said we should give them all a 10% cut. Why? Because apparently AI will streamline repetitive administrative tasks, enhance decision-making, and improve service quality. And one of the MPs who read this budget report went, wait a second, somehow you came to the determination that each of these departments could do with an exactly 10% cut, each one? I've never seen that before, said the MP. Which makes a lot of sense. When is the last time that you saw a budget cut for that many government departments that is equally 10% across the board under the premise that the AI systems, right? This is the premise. The AI systems that are going to be rolled out into these departments is going to streamline efficiency at 10% each department. That is, frankly, a very wild claim to make, and I don't find this to be true at all. In fact, I find this to be heavily flawed, and this probably was generated by AI. You can actually go over here and click on that link, and you can see the PDF that was generated by the federal government with regards to the efficiency and the spending and all of that stuff, and they go over it here. So you can see it all. And I'm wondering how much of this was AI generated. It's actually kind of hard to tell because of the verbiage here. It's mostly just dry, government style verbiage, but it's all here. So I don't know, but I don't know about you, but seeing like AI participate in government budget spending like this, and then making a bold claim that over 10 departments can do a 10% cut equally, all of them 10%, and even 10%. There's no variance; it's all 10%. I don't know. That's sketch to me, and I'm glad the MPs are picking up on this because this is the kind of crap that's coming to your government and mine. Except we run by moose up here and maple syrup. One sec. All right. This article, I'm glad to be seeing. I'm glad to be seeing this one. There is hope for humanity. So for all the naysayers out there, here is another positive article, okay? So you can stuff it. Okay, you can stuff it. This is positive. This gives me hope for humanity. This is actually something good. I'm glad to be seeing this kind of stuff. Let's read what this is. What if customers started saying no to AI? an artist canceled their Duolingo and Audible subscriptions to protest the company's decision to use more AI. If enough people leave, hopefully they kind of rethink this, the artist tells Washington Post. And apparently many more people feel this way. In thousands of comments and posts about Audible and Duolingo that the Post reviewed across social media, including Reddit, YouTube Threads, and TikTok, people threatened to cancel subscriptions, voiced concern for human translators and narrators, and said AI creates inferior experiences. It destroys the purpose of humanity. We have so many amazing abilities to create art and music and just appreciate what's around us, said Kayla Ellsworth, a 21-year-old college student. Some of the things that are the most important to us are being replaced by things that are not real. People in creative jobs are already on edge about the role AI is playing in their fields, like Etsy, with AI-generated craft and stuff like that. Romance novels, coloring books, logos, presentations, etc. I was promised tech would make everything easier so I could enjoy life, author Brittany Moon said. Now it's leaving me all the dishes and the laundry so AI can make the art. And this is why I say to people that you should vote with your dollars in the tech industry. If something feels off in your gut about the way something operates, including AI, simply withhold your dollars. And I'm glad to see people as young as 21 are making these kinds of statements, because it shows that there are still people out there, including young people in that young generation group, who value the benefits of human interaction and stuff that comes from reality and not fake digital stuff. So I am quite happy to be seeing this. This is a good, positive thing. Gives me hope. Let's see. Okay, I've only got a few more. We've got Canada here. Canadian telecom hacked by suspected China state group. We don't know exactly if this is true or not, but it definitely happened. There is a Cisco vulnerability that was patched October 2023, but exploited in February 2025. The telecom company was not disclosed here, but the FBI looked into it, even though they're United States, they're American, they're not Canadian, but they also looked into it as well. And yeah, something absolutely happened with this telecom company. They were hacked. The people who were affected got notified, but the information on the hack is essentially just boils down to this telecom company was severely negligent. They simply did not keep a 2-year-old system up to date. And so they could have a 2023 vulnerability compromised in February 2025. That's really all we know about this. But this is just another one, put another one down for, yet again, the tech industry just does not care enough about this kind of stuff. They don't realize the kind of damage this does, nor do they realize how much money they're leaving on the table. Can I get the link to this? Yeah, so Doglet, if you type in !Discord in chat, you can hop on the Discord, and later today or tomorrow, I'm going to post the episodes with links. So that's one way. That's one way to do it. You can just ask me too on there just to remind me. Otherwise I'll forget. Just tell me which one you're looking for, and I'll drop it in there for you. But there's a channel called, on Discord, there's a channel called Covered Articles and Studies. And every 1 to 2 days, I drop in the last 1 or 2 episodes and literally all the links of everything I've gone over. And they're all there, titles, links, everything. So one way or another, you'll get it. But just shoot me a message there just to remind me that that you want it and which one you want to. I'll do my best. Okay. Now, I'm going to preface this last bit. This is the last one, and this one's a bit of a deeper one as well. I'm going to preface this last bit by making it clear that even though we talk about China a lot, dare not you think that China is the only nation that behaves in these kinds of propaganda pushing ways, or even nefarious ways, underhanded tactics. Every nation will do whatever it can to come out on top in a variety of different ways. It's just that it seems to be the case that you can point to China for a lot of it because they kind of seem to be a bit more open about what they're doing. In some cases, it's quite clear what they're up to, and they seem to be okay with the fact that it's clear because they get away with it a lot. But you definitely want to keep in mind that it's not just China, and the propaganda that works from when it comes out of China, and you go, well, that's clearly propaganda. Well, it also works on us when we talk about China as well. I was there last year because I was having a vacation there and visiting some extended family and whatnot, and I was there for a few weeks. And to visit, absolutely beautiful place, and it definitely has some downsides, and there are definitely some things that you see in Western propaganda against China. You definitely see it there in a little bit, not a lot. But it's not what you typically have in your head about China. However, China as a government, as an entity, as a group that takes actions to preserve itself and come out on top, that's very different than the China that you would go visit. So I'm trying to be clear about that, particularly because I don't think it's fair for any side of any one of these propaganda based information warfare systems to present the other side in an unfair way. So I'm trying to be as fair as I can about that because it's, China is up to some crap, okay? And we're about to get into it. But again, just remember that this isn't just China. Everyone does it. That includes America, all right? This happens everywhere. However, the techniques that are being used, the way that tech is being wielded against you and I is what's of actual importance to these streams and the viewers who are watching. So we're going to do two articles, and one kind of leads to the other. So there's this article that I was given by a friend from the BBC. Fast tech warning as demand for cheap gadgets heats up. This is from 2 days ago. Demand for so-called fast tech, cheap electronic items, often quickly binned or abandoned in drawers, is growing, a not-for-profit that works to reduce electronic waste has warned. Material Focus, which is the group, singled out heatwave fuel demand for battery-powered minifans as an example of the problem, suggesting over 7 million were purchased last year. Nearly £8 million was spent on light-up toilet seats, mini karaoke machines, and LED balloons, the group's calculations also suggested. Light up toilet seats. What's up, Frozen? Good to see you. What's up, Ross? Good to see you on the Twitch side. Ross, you missed a big healthcare one where there was 2 people who literally lost their life over a ransomware attack. You're going to have to go back. I literally went over that. This is really sad. I know you like those ones, Ross. Overall, consumer spending on fast tech has quadrupled to 11.6 billion euros, or pounds, since 2023. Surveys carried out from Material Focus suggested. The boom could be as rapid as the growth in fast fashion, with a similar negative impact. Although fast tech can cost less than £1, valuable materials can still be locked up in the cut-price gadgets. A previous report by Material Focus, this is where it starts to get wild about the consequences of this, and then I'll get into the reasons why this happened in the first place. Looking at tech lurking in so-called drawers of doom, suggested in total the junk could contain over 38,000 tons of copper. The mining of materials used by tech gadgets can be environmentally damaging, and yet experts say such elements will be crucial as nations seek to transition to low-carbon technologies. So you had fast fashion, now you have fast tech, fast food, right? Think before you buy your latest fast tech item. All right. And then it goes into repair and recycle. Okay, perfect. All right. So I read this article, okay, and I thought to myself, why? What is the drive behind this fast tech stuff? Why is it happening? And I know I had to think about it for myself, right? And I know for myself that I can go on one of these apps on your phone, and you could do like, what's it called? Like Wish is one, right? There's another one. Anyways, there's a few. Some of them are Chinese, and you can just purchase really cheap stuff and get them mass shipped to your door. And I thought, like, I wonder if there's a connection here. So I found this website, which I'm going to be digging into more, and they do reports that are very much in line with the kind of stuff that we talk about. Yeah, Temu. That's right, Doglit. Temu. I want to say Taobao. There's a few of them, and you can just buy these cheap goods very, very cheaply, and in mass. So this is from the, let me switch over, the Network Contagion Research Institute. Yeah, Alibaba. Yeah, AliExpress. There you go. Yeah, that's correct. So this report that they did, it's an investigation into how the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, uses TikTok and other influential social media presence to tackle the trade war, which apparently is over today. Didn't Trump sign a deal with China today? Which would be good, honestly. That would be a good thing. Like that would be good if that's what happened. But how did they use TikTok to do it? And you can, as you read this, you'll be able to kind of see how this is played out in real life, essentially. Let me, the zoom here is stupid. Okay, hang on, folks. Okay, there we go. I don't know what this thing is doing. We're just going to keep it like that. I'm sorry if the print isn't quite enough on the screen. On April 2nd, 2025, President Trump announced the imposition of a reciprocal tariff policy that imposed a raft of new tariffs on global trading partners, including a 145% duty on goods imported from China. In the weeks following, mainstream media outlets have reported on a viral social media trend urging global consumers to buy directly from Chinese manufacturers in order to cut out the middleman, i.e., major Western brands, in order to buy significantly cheaper products. Though trade experts and brand ambassadors have noted that these videos are misleading and are likely advertising counterfeit and replica goods, aka cheap goods, they have received exposure of over 50 million views on TikTok alone, while Alibaba became the #1 app downloaded on iOS in the US. So I won't read the whole article, but we'll read bits and pieces of it. Essentially, these videos promote counterfeit replica goods, and they say, look, if you want to avoid the price hike that's going to come from the products that you're going to have to purchase, why don't you just buy directly from us? And they essentially say that it's the Western companies who are overcharging you. They're lying to you and they're overcharging you. But we do authentic and fair stuff as an alternative to the stuff that you now have to pay for. And people in the West, generally, including myself, are distrustful of organizations at face value, of corporations at face value, of course. It makes perfect sense. And so this is going to be very appealing. The amount of engagement that has come as a result of this kind of propaganda from China worked fantastically. They got hundreds of millions of views overall. TikTok being the primary place where they spread this kind of, let's say, messaging. And comments included things like, China is dismantling capitalism in the USA, and I am so happy for us. And this is how you win a trade war. Some of these things were organic, but they started off being paid campaigns by the CCP. And the proof is that the People's Daily newspaper, which is an official newspaper of the CCP, said that it was going to start promoting these kinds of campaigns to foreigners. It was out there in public. This is why I say that China is one of the easier ones to pick on when it comes to these kinds of underhanded tactics. They tend to be more open about it, but you can bet your bottom dollar that they're not the only one who does these kinds of things, right? So they attempted to do an orchestrated grassroots movement and make these things viral, and it worked. They even tied in to the NHL. Okay, they even tied into the NHL. So as a Canadian, I find this particularly offensive. All right. So what they started to do was pay people to post things like, look, you can buy this thing or that thing, you can get it way cheaper, etc., etc. They were quite open on Reddit. They were quite open on TikTok. They were quite open on X. It was very clear to see that some of these videos, images, posts were AI generated. Some were harder to pick up, but they have a list of, all of these things that were like harder to generate. China just 404, the luxury goods industry, it's gone, there's no coming back. You can see this exact same quote being repeated over and over and over again, etc., etc. And so you can see how much this is coordinated. I mean, this to me looks like heavy AI. I have no idea how, I don't know. This looks fake as hell to me. But people post it and etc. They went through a very detailed overview of how this worked, connected accounts, likes, messaging, images, all of it. And it worked. This got a ton of views, and it absolutely created I mean, come on, tell me, is this real? This is AI. It's so just, I don't know, maybe I'm being mean or something, but it's just like, it's so disproportionate. Anyways, it worked. There was a lot of money that was made as a result of this kind of campaign against greedy capitalist Western companies and the tariff wars that Trump initiated. They even, like I said, hijacked NHL, and you can see how they did it. They just used like NHL content and they injected this kind of stuff with it, including things like jerseys and stuff like that. You can see the uptick in the engagement. So engagement went through the roof. Purchases also went through the roof. And then luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Hermes, and Birkin had to go on defensive, and they had to create their own video content to kind of like combat this. This is how tech is wielded in this day and age. It becomes more than just programming. It becomes more than just code. It becomes more than just binary bits, ones and zeros, and hardware executing that. It's an ideological tool. It's a military tool. It's a societal tool. It's a medical tool. It's a familial tool. It's a romantic tool. It's an entertainment tool. It's an information tool. It's a propaganda tool. It's a tool that is wielded for many different things. And people need to understand, especially if you're in this space, that all the little decisions that you make in the tech industry have a massive impact on the world around you. We really have to get our heads out of the sand and come to this realization that we unfortunately have more power over the world around us than we want to admit we do. And I think that's the real problem, is that nobody actually wants to admit the kind of power that they wield when they're building a website or an application or a video game or whatever. They don't want to be responsible for that kind of power. It's as if they just don't say it, then it means it's not true, which means they get to sleep soundly at night. But reality does not care about whether or not you say something. It's simply true. And this kind of tactic proves that people can be manipulated in, I mean, we're just talking about like people purchasing cheap stuff, right? Cheap knockoffs and stuff. Is there like a massive harm? Like probably not overall, you know, but something so simple can be used to manipulate people and bias them to do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do. You don't think that's going to be used against you in other ways? Of course it is. All right, that's it. That's all I have. That's all I have. Let me do a double check and make sure I didn't miss any articles. I missed that one. Okay, I missed two, but that's fine. We can do those tomorrow. Got that one. Got that one. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. That's it for the daily tech news for the day. Thanks for popping on here. I know it's not the most exciting stuff, but like I said, I'm trying to build up a backlog of evidence. All this stuff is leading somewhere. It's leading to an ultimate goal. And I think a lot of you see what it is. It's a slog, but we've been doing this for months now. Well, over a year, ultimately, if you include the Enlightened programming streams. And it just builds up to the arguments and the evidence for the arguments that even small things like stop leaning on third-party crutches and things like this, we have to stop doing this. We have to take a look at the very least, let's just take a breath and look at what we're doing and consider the cost of the decisions we've been making for the last 10 or 20 years. But it's really hard to persuade people unless you build up this backlog of evidence. And it takes time. You have to read it all. You have to make sure you understand it as best as you can. You have to have a lot of debates and arguments with people. You have to present logical arguments and logical entailments and do all that. You also have to prove it by building stuff, which is also like why I'm building the video game I'm building. I'm also building a couple of projects behind the scenes that nobody knows about. Just to kind of like show that I'm not just saying stuff, I'm trying to do stuff as well. We really have to get a hold of what we're doing. And AI right now is the hot topic because we have to be careful with that, and we're not being careful. So, you know, I know it's not exciting, but over the long term, that's kind of the goal of what I'm doing here. Specious, it still pushes you to keep manufacturing out of your country. I mean, it does. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Johnny, it's all leading to the cult of Spiro. All hail a fearless leader. You get, yeah, it is. And by the way, cult leaders get paid. Okay. So type in !tip and it'll take you to a Streamlabs link and you can tip me. Okay. You can tip your cult leader. We are witnesses. Yeah, birds. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's why I don't make the videos. That's why I do this all live and then create the videos after, because there are people then who get to watch, even if it's just one person, so that you can see that like, this is what I went through. Right. And you can be there with me. Specious reminder, everyone, watch more past videos. He needs more hours. Yeah. I'm at 20. Thank you, Specious. Yeah. I'm at 2,651 watch hours of like regular videos, not shorts. It has to be regular videos, and I need 3,000. So if you just pop open previous videos, set the volume to 1%, don't mute the tab, and then just let it play, that'll help me get there faster. Then I can get monetized. Thank you. Our mighty fearless Lord Spiro. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Ross. I appreciate it. Specious, recent 2-hour video playing in the back. Thank you, Specious. Yeah, there you go, birds. That's how you do it. Just since yesterday, we got 15 more views in that video, so hoping this helps. It does. Every little bit helps. Yeah. Even so, the tips help. The subscribe helps. Liking helps. So if you hit the like button, that helps. If you repost it or share it or comment underneath it, it doesn't matter what the comment is. All that stuff helps. It feeds into the stupid algorithm, which I hate, but it's the only way to get more eyeballs on this information and make the arguments and hopefully persuade people. So yeah, it is the safe topic. Yeah. Tip $1 billion. That's right, Ross. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Talking about a list, not gonna. Yeah. Hey, my $7 tip in out. Yeah, it is. It's 73. It went from 68 to 73. It's up there. Holding Twitch accountable. Wheel gets you suspended. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's fine if, like, there's really not a heck of a lot I can do except just say, like, I think Twitch is doing themselves in, honestly. So, what else can I do, right? I don't think I'm saying anything particularly egregious. They're absolutely aligning with particular ideologies and unevenly playing with their terms of service, like applying it. So I get, if that's like an offensive thing to say, I don't know, ban me, I guess. Like, I just think that's what's happening. So many devices. Yeah, too many devices. Yeah. Thanks, Frozen. Thanks, Frozen. Thanks for the bits. I appreciate it. Like, I do try and be a bit careful because, like, it's not that I want to, like, say things that are, I don't know. It's not like I want to come out swinging. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to be careful what I say here too. Like, I don't want to go full attack mode. I want to present some arguments, right? And one of the arguments that I think I can present, for example, with the Twitch thing, is instead of just coming right out and just being like, I'm just going to attack this head on, and then, getting banned or whatever because I just wanted to say a thing. What's the benefit in that if I can just kind of skirt around it and play by the rules, but still get the same message out? So the message is, go look it up for yourself. It's really easy. It's like, you just have to go look it up. You can see, like I said, the Tectones video, because he got banned. Just go look at that, and it's there. Thank you, One Allergen. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the bits. For the 3 bits, 103 bits today. Nice, I'm rolling in it. And just to tie that in, like, just one last thing, just to tie that in. When you look at this article, where they went into how the CCP absolutely in your face came up with a campaign to tackle the tariff wars and get you to buy directly from them, you can bet your bottom dollar again, if you have a bottom dollar left, after all the bets I've asked you to make today, that a company like Twitch also knows that they have the ability to manipulate. And that probably means that there's a reason why they're playing uneven tactics, right? So I'm just trying to bring attention to the fact that, like, these AI systems, these companies, our code, our inability to do basic security configurations because we've neutered the industry, we've neutered experience and expertise in the industry. I mean, all of this, like, third-party responsibility handoff crap, all of the stupid decisions we've been making all makes this worse. That's what I'm trying to tell people. That's what I'm trying to persuade them and show them with evidence. This has an impact on society, on the society you have to grow up in. Is this really how you want to play it? We could do better. You saw a Tectone on the screen? Yeah. Go watch that. Go watch that video. Okay. I will say that the chat on Twitch is better. I will say that much. All right. I will absolutely give him that. I want Twitch shut down. You think I'm going to argue? You're on your second suspension, Evil Eye? Evil Eye is on YouTube. Evil Eye Interactive LLC. I'm on my second suspension in 2 months. I want Twitch shut down. You think I want to argue? Okay, so Evil Eye on the YouTube side. Just before I end the stream here, what kind of content do you do? Tell me on the YouTube side what kind of content you do. And then I have a follow-up question. Let me pull something up here. One sec. If I do this, I just want to see what Evil Eye is talking about here. I avoid YouTube, but on here only to support your YouTube growth. Thanks, Specious. Evil Eye Interact. active indie games. Indie video game creator. You have a website. I'm trying to figure out indie video game creator. Okay. Are you on YouTube, Evil Eye? I'm trying to find your like where you post your indie stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who it is. So, I don't really see a response from Evil Eye right now. He's kind of taking his sweet time because he's a lazy bum, probably because he's on YouTube. But if you're getting suspended on Twitch, Evil Eye, you can always, why don't you do this? Why don't you hop on Discord, or I have a Twitch chat cam. I'm working on an MMORPG in Unreal Engine. Okay. Hop on Discord and drop me a link or something, or message me a link, and I'll shout you out. Let's get you some support for being shut down on Twitch, because that's not cool. But I've been interacting with everyone on software and development for 3 years. Okay. Drop a link somewhere, and we can give you a shout out to get you some support for being shut down, because that's stupid. And I would be curious to know why you got shut down too. Oh, you're Code Matt. Okay. Are you on my Discord? If you're on my Discord, come chat with me. Okay? Let's give you a proper shout out. I want to see what you're up to, and I do not like the way Twitch operates that way. So if you're being shut down on Twitch for a particular reason, I'd like to know, and we'll we'll get some attention your way. But with the, let's see, how many total viewers do I have today? I have about 40 total viewers across all the platforms. So all 40 of my viewers, okay, all 40 of my viewers, we'll send them your way. You use YouTube very little. Okay, there's probably a delay on the stream. That's probably why I think he's not answering fast enough. But in any case, okay, not you, it's me. Hey, how's it going on the Twitch side? All right, so that's it for me. I'm gonna call it. That's been the stream. Evil Eye, Code Matt. Make sure you drop in on Discord. If you need a link, it's on any one of the video descriptions on my YouTube. You can join in and just DM me, and we'll chat for a minute. I'll see what you're up to and get you some support your way. Other than that, stay safe out there. Don't fall for propaganda. Please keep in mind all the stuff that I'm talking about here. Please keep in mind the information that I'm presenting and the arguments that I'm presenting to you. Please keep in mind that you actually have a lot more ability to change the direction of things in your own little world by using the information I'm giving you to persuade others around you. So whether it's at work with your colleagues, or a manager or an executive, or if you happen to be an executive or something like that, or a business owner, these are things that will give you an edge. People don't seem to realize the stuff that we're talking about here. And so a lot of money is left on the table. A lot of opportunities are left on the table, and we can make marked improvements to the entire industry and society at large. So please take that away from what I'm saying here. Do not look to me as a cult leader. I am not a leader of any sort. I'm a high school dropout with room temperature who's I can't even say IQ, right? I say AQ. Self-taught, and that means that I really don't know much. I just really care about this industry, and I don't want to see it ruined, and that's the reason why I do what I do, and that's it. So that's it. Stick around. Tomorrow I'll be back for another Daily Tech News stream. We'll go over some more stuff, and I think that's it. I'm still planning to do a video game stream later this week. I don't know when. Probably the weekend, I think. But yeah, other than that, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good day. Have a good night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Peace out. Now, I almost forgot, folks. I almost forgot. There was a network contagion report where this group did a deep study on chat users across all my platforms and determined statistically which chat users suck. And so I have this study before my very eyes. And so to end, let's go and list out all the people who are in this report who suck. Evil Eye on YouTube, you suck. One Allergen, you suck. Streamlabs, you suck. The Streamlabs bot does not get to escape. Ross, you suck. Specious on YouTube, you suck. Frozen, you suck. Let's see, who else do we have here on this list? Birds aren't real, you suck. Okay, Johnny, you suck. Right? Doglit, you suck. Josh on YouTube, you suck. Anurag, you suck. NFTU, you suck. Who else do we have? D-Daver, you suck. Johnny, you suck. Alpha Beta, you suck. Laughing Panda, today you suck. Travis gets a pass because if you're not following Travis Vroman, you should be following Travis Vroman. Travis Vroman. Go to his YouTube, go to his Twitch. He does really awesome C work with the 3D engine. If you want to actually learn how to program from a real programmer who actually really cares and teaches you the right way to program, go watch Travis. Absolutely do that. Other than that, all of you suck. I will be back tomorrow to tell you even more how much you suck and in how many ways. Peace out, suckers.